Sometimes what's written on paper is just a piece of paper. A powerful man may step aside on paper, but behind the curtain,
for a sociopath,
he's still pulling the strings. That letter. Not justice. Just a performance to calm down angry masses.
I appreciate what they've been doing.
The case of Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lang'at is a textbook example.
Now, the Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lang'at has resigned, or rather has stepped aside.
He stepped aside after public outrage over the death of blogger and teacher Albert Ojwang. But as we dig deeper, the question becomes clear. Did Lang'at really step aside, or was this just another public relations gimmick? Walk with me. Because in this investigation, we'll uncover how a blogger's death, a media war, and state shielding collide around one man, DIG Eliud Lang'at. On June 7, 2025, blogger and teacher Albert Ojwang was arrested by officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI.
Kwa hakika siwezi kueleza.
His father, Meshach Ojwang Opio, recalls the chilling words of the officers who stormed their home. "We have been sent to arrest your son, Albert Ojwang, for abusing our boss."
Ametusi mkubwa wao, kwa hivyo wametuma kutoka Nairobi waje nyumbani kumchukua huyu mtoto.
The boss in this case was Deputy Inspector General Eliud Lang'at. The following day, June 8th, Albert Ojwang was declared dead inside Nairobi Central Police Station. His sudden death sparked outrage across the country.
He was asked, what is the first word?
Human rights activists, Gen Z protesters and political voices, particularly from Luo Nyanza, demanded justice and called for Lang'at's resignation. And yet, when suspects were eventually lined up, Lang'at's name was conspicuously missing. 7 individuals were charged, including Nairobi Central OCS Samson Talam, and one, James Mokwana. But the man whose complaint triggered Albert's arrest,
To appreciate what
Deputy Inspector General Lang'at, was cleared by the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lang'at has resigned, or rather has...
Amid public uproar, Lang'at stepped aside through a letter dated June 16, 2025, to allow IPOA investigations. On the surface, it seemed like accountability at last. But the Standard Media Group quickly revealed that this wasn't Lang'at's idea. According to their investigation, President William Ruto himself ordered Lang'at to vacate office temporarily. Even then, the so-called stepping aside was little more than words on paper. Why? Because, as Standard exposed, Lang'at never actually left his desk. On July 7, 2025, while his suspension was supposedly still active, Lang'at was spotted in West Pokot, escorted by an armoured convoy, moving from Kaleng, Turkana to Marich Pass. The man who had stepped aside was actively commanding security operations. Days later, on July 11, 2025, Standard journalist Osinde Obare, who had been tailing Lang'at, captured him sneaking into Vigilante House, the Deputy Inspector General's office in Nairobi CBD. The evidence was damning. Lang'at never stopped working. The stepping aside was pure PR, crafted to calm protesters and shield the government from political fallout. To understand why Standard Media relentlessly pursued Lang'at, we must rewind to June 4, 2025, just days before Albert's death. That morning, Fake newspaper editions with explosive headlines targeting Lang'at circulated widely. Believing them genuine, Lang'at dispatched DCI officers to raid the Standard Media Group headquarters. The raid was chaotic. Staff were harassed, computers switched off, and journalists ordered to stand up as officers shouted, "So it's you tarnishing our boss's name, right?" Eventually, it turned out that the publications were fake, never issued by Standard Media. But the damage had been done. The raid left the media house furious, humiliated, and determined to go after Lang'at. From that day, Standard declared war, and Lang'at became a fixture in their headlines. Why is Lang'at not facing trial? Who is shielding him from the very justice system he is sworn to uphold? Walk with me. On June 16, 2025, Lang'at stepped aside from his position, supposedly to allow the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, to carry out investigations without interference. 6 days later, he appeared before IPOA. His defense was both emotional and strategic.
I appreciate what they've been doing.
I have no hand in the death of the late Albert Ojwang. His death shocked me just as it shocked the rest of Kenyans. I am a police officer. I do not take life, I protect it. That is what I swore to do. He went further. I am also a Kenyan, a father figure, a human being. My image was unfairly tainted online. When I felt my rights had been violated, I reported, not as a police officer, but as a Kenyan entitled to justice. Would someone intending to kill another for tarnishing his name first report to the police? No, someone else must have used that opportunity. Lang'at denied ever speaking to OCS Samson Talam, despite later testimony suggesting otherwise. IPOA accepted his defense and cleared him. Soon after, Lang'at was quietly reinstated to office, as if nothing had happened. Once IPOA cleared Lang'at, the legal battles shifted to the courts. 5 petitioners immediately filed a case to bar him from resuming duty. But in a move that raised eyebrows, Attorney General Dorcas Oduor personally intervened, appealing against the petitions. The court sided with the AG, allowing Lang'at to walk back into Vigilante House. Still, the pressure did not ease.
Boss sasa ni chief complainant.
20 more petitioners, led by activist Fred Ogola, went to court demanding that Lang'at be included as a suspect. Ogola's argument was simple.
The statement issued by the father of Ojwang, he said he was asked what is the first word he was given by the policeman arresting his son. And he said, tumekujia mtoto wako, ametusi boss yetu.
When DCI officers arrested Albert Ojwang, they told his father, "Your son has insulted our boss. We have been sent to arrest him." That boss was none other than Lang'at. To Ogola, this single statement was sufficient grounds to list Lang'at among the suspects. The High Court gave the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, until August 29, 2025 to respond. But before the ink on that ruling could dry, the Attorney General once again rushed to court, this time to defend Lang'at directly. The AG's argument? That Lang'at had acted not as a police officer, but as a private citizen reporting a grievance, and therefore bore no responsibility for what followed. The strongest link to Lang'at comes from none other than James Mokwana, one of the accused. Initially, Mokwana denied Lang'at's involvement, but in a later statement, he changed his story. On June 7, 2025, around 10 a.m., OCS Samson Talam called me. He asked, "Do you know our boss, Deputy Inspector General Eliud Lang'at?" I said yes. He then told me, "Our boss has said there is a suspect being brought in. He wants him tortured to be taught a lesson." If true, this testimony places Lang'at at the heart of the conspiracy to torture Albert Ojwang. By law, Such an allegation should automatically qualify him as a suspect. Yet, despite this, the state has held its grip tightly around him, ensuring his name is never formally entered into the charge sheet. So far, we have uncovered three main pillars of this story. A stepping aside letter that was nothing more than a facade. On paper, Lang'at stepped aside, but in reality, he never left office. A media war between the Standard Group and Lang'at, ignited by a botched DCI raid and fueled by headlines that refused to let him breathe. A state machinery, led by the Attorney General's office, working overtime to shield one man from being mentioned in court as a suspect. These three threads, paper deception, media vendetta, and state protection, intertwine to paint a chilling picture of how power bends justice in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, the case of Albert Ojwang's death is more than just about a fallen blogger and teacher. It is about how power bends justice, how institutions that should defend the people instead shield the powerful, and how impunity hides behind legal technicalities. The question remains, will Lang'at ever face trial? Or will the state continue to shield him until the cries for justice fade away? That concludes today's deep dive. If you have thoughts, questions, or insights, share them in the comments. And if you're new here, remember to like, share, and subscribe to LifeLens TV. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our next investigation. Until next time, goodbye. Bye.